As we eagerly await the release of Mass Effect 5, there's a mix of excitement and cautious optimism surrounding the next chapter in the franchise. While we wait, it's worth revisiting some of the elements that made the original games unforgettable, particularly the rich and thought-provoking characters that shaped the narrative. The series has always been more than just a sci-fi adventure. It's been about exploring deep philosophical questions through the diverse perspectives of our companions. Each character brought their own worldview, challenging our beliefs and adding layers of complexity to Commander Shepard's journey. Let's take a look at a few of these iconic companions and the unique ideologies that define them.
You were dead.
I came back.
You can't just come back.
Liara T-Soni, once a reclusive Asari scientist in Mass Effect 1, becomes a powerful information broker in Mass Effect 2, using her expertise in Prothean history and technology to assist Commander Shepard. Her transformation stems from the loss of her mother, Matriarch Benezia, and the knowledge that the Reapers are a looming threat. In the early days, Liara sought knowledge out of scientific curiosity, but as her experiences shaped her, she turned to a more Socratic wisdom philosophy, where true wisdom requires understanding both self-identity and the larger consequences of knowledge. Throughout the game, Liara evolves from a naive researcher into a savvy political player, using her intelligence to influence galactic events. By the end of Mass Effect 2, she has come to understand that knowledge isn't just about learning the past, but using it to shape the future. She embraces a full epistemology worldview as she becomes the Shadow Broker, delving even deeper into the consequences of knowledge. Her journey reflects personal growth and the vital role knowledge plays in combating existential threats.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Mordin Solus is a brilliant Solarian scientist and former Special Task Group operative. He joins Commander Shepard's crew in Mass Effect 2 as the team's doctor. His expertise in genetics and his troubled past with the genophage, a biological weapon used to control the Krogan, make him both invaluable and morally conflicted. Mordin's utilitarian bordering on Machiavellian philosophy drives him to prioritize the greater good, justifying his controversial actions and role in creating the genophage as necessary for the survival of his people. This utilitarian approach shapes his decision throughout the game, often placing the welfare of the many above the suffering of a few. However, as the story progresses, Mordin is forced to confront the consequences of his past, grappling with the ethical cost of his scientific advancements. In the end, his decision to help or hinder the cure for the genophage reflects his growth as he seeks redemption for his past choices while balancing moral responsibility.
What the hell are we waiting? Anyone gets what they deserve.
Zaeed Massani is a battle-hardened mercenary with a tragic past. Defined by his betrayal at the hands of the Blue Suns mercenary group, after years of hunting down those responsible, Zaeed joins Commander Shepard's team in Mass Effect 2. Driven by a need for vengeance rather than loyalty or duty, his relentless pursuit of retribution embodies the cycle of vengeance, where through his retributivism, revenge becomes both a personal and morally justified necessity, but also a destructive force in his life. Throughout the game, Zaeed's desire for vengeance clouds his judgment, often making him act impulsively, even at the risk of jeopardizing the mission. As the story progresses, Zaeed begins to realize that vengeance cannot undo the past, and that it has cost him more than he expected. By the end of his arc, Zaeed's reflection on his vendetta forces him to reconsider his path, though his scars remain a part of him as he turns to a restorative path of justice.
Please, remember who you're talking to.
Kasumi Goto, a skilled thief and infiltrator, joins Commander Shepard's team in Mass Effect 2, with a personal mission to reclaim the Gray Box, a stolen object that holds the last memories of her deceased partner, Keiji. Her tragic past, marked by Keiji's death and betrayal, has driven her to work alone, honing her abilities in the underworld. Throughout the game, Kasumi's obsession with avenging his death reveals the themes of stoicism, the idea that attachment, though emotionally significant, often comes at a high cost. Her attachment to Keiji and the Gray Box causes internal conflict, hindering her ability to move forward. In the end, she retrieves the Gray Box, but realizes that holding on to the past prevents her from embracing the future. Kasumi's journey embodies the challenge of balancing emotional attachment with the need to let go and find personal growth. While I've categorized Kasumi as stoic due to how her story unfolds, she also displays one of the four noble truths of Buddhism as she seeks to transcend her need for attachment.
If you're weak and choose weak enemies, I'll have to kill you.
Grunt, a genetically engineered Krogan created by Cerberus, enters Mass Effect 2 as a powerful yet inexperienced warrior. Born in a tank with no traditional upbringing, his purpose is to prove himself as more than a product of genetic manipulation. Initially, Grunt is driven by the desire to fight, but his journey becomes one of existential crisis as he questions the impact his genetic origins have on his personal glory. He embodies the existentialist idea that identity and purpose are shaped by experience and choice, not just birth or genetics. Throughout the game, Grunt grapples with his warlike instincts and his emerging sense of honor, learning that he is more than just a soldier following the path of personalism. By the end of the game, Grunt fully embraces his origin but proves himself through actions and relationships. His story highlights how true self-worth is defined by personal experience and the choices one makes, not by one's origins or design.
People here needed someone to believe in.
Garrus Vakarian begins as a dedicated CSEC officer in Mass Effect 1, but his disillusionment with corrupt system leads him to abandon his position and join Commander Shepard in the fight against greater threats. By Mass Effect 2, Garrus has evolved into a full-blown vigilante, embodying the philosophy of vigilantism and moral absolutism, believing that true justice often requires actions outside of the law. His personal journey is marked by his desire to bring wrongdoers to justice, exemplified by his pursuit of Sidonis, a traitor he once trusted. Garrus' growing conviction that traditional systems of justice fail leads him to take matters into his own hands, often in harsh and direct ways. The vigilant pursuit of justice does come at a personal cost, as he struggles with the consequences of his actions. Ultimately, Garrus' arc reflects a belief that despite the risks, some forms of justice can only be served through personal responsibility and decisive action.
And if the admirals have a problem with it, they can go to hell.
Tali Z'orah, Quarian engineer, begins her journey in Mass Effect 1 as a member of Commander Shepard's team, seeking to protect her people from the Geth. By Mass Effect 2, Tali takes a more pivotal role, carrying the weight of her father's legacy while grappling with the moral complexity of her people's history. Her story centers around communitarianism, the idea of sacrifice and collective responsibility. As she places the survival of her people above personal desires, Tali demonstrates this through her willingness to risk her life and make difficult choices, such as working with the Geth despite their role in the Quarian suffering. Her growth is tested by her internal conflict and the ethical dilemmas she faces, especially regarding her people's creation of the Geth. Ultimately, Tali learns that true leadership involves balancing personal sacrifice with responsibility to the greater good and the consequences of her actions.
My father hurt me, but he didn't break me.
Miranda Lawson, a genetically engineered Cerberus operative, begins her journey in Mass Effect 2 as a key ally to Commander Shepard. Created by her father to be the perfect human, Miranda struggles with her constructed identity and her loyalty to Cerberus, an organization she begins to question. Throughout the game, she uses her intelligence and leadership to support Shepard's mission, but her internal conflict grows as she grapples with the ethics of determinism versus libertarianism, control versus freedom. Miranda embodies this philosophical tension as her life has been shaped by factors outside of her control, yet she yearns for autonomy and self-determination. As she spends more time with Shepard, she begins to challenge Cerberus and seek independence, realizing that her true freedom lies in making her own choices. By the end of the story, Miranda shifts from loyalty to Cerberus to embracing a path of personal autonomy and moral responsibility.
People here needed someone to...
As Shepard, the player is exposed to all of these philosophies. Most don't realize it, and it is portrayed completely naturally. But it is this depth of thought that goes into each companion's motivations that makes each story truly unique, even if the circumstances of their discovery are similar. As Shepard, we explore a few philosophies of our own based on the morality system we do or don't adhere to. The pure player may hold to virtue ethics. The player that attempts to balance mission objectives with companions' opinions is exploring deontological ethics, but most of us take a more pragmatic approach and go for the most practical decision for the given situation. My sincere hope is that BioWare returns to this deep level of thoughtfulness as the story continues in Mass Effect 5, and that they give us a truly unforgettable player experience.